Well, we've been waiting all season long for a goal fest at Red Bull Arena, but certainly not like this. The Colorado Rapids take all 3 points for the first time on the road this season. The New York Red Bulls fall 5-4 to Colorado at Red Bull Arena. Once again, not getting the job done against a Western Conference team at home. And the Rapids, 12th place in the West. Do you think that this would be a game that they could dig themselves out of this rut that they're in?
It's just a tough stretch for the Red Bulls. Think back last week in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal against Orlando City SC, a 5-1 loss after the Red Bulls went in front as they did in this game, losing 5-4 to Colorado. You go even before that, the 4-3 win to Austin FC on the road. Again, 3 goals conceded. This is a team, New York Red Bulls, that previously this year we've been talking about how they aren't scoring goals and how they're really sound defensively, but now everything seems to have flipped on its head. The identity of the team seems to have kind of gone, and like I said earlier, they jumped out to a lead. Drew Yearwood scored in the 6th minute, Aaron Long in the 9th minute. It was 2-0 Red Bulls before we reached 10 minutes played. They let Colorado back in the game as they've been doing recently. Diego Rubio with the goal in the 21st minute, but then in the 28th minute, that's when things started to get a little bit chaotic, James.
Lewis Morgan is the one who converts the penalty in that 28th minute, but prior to that, Lalas Abubakar brings down Luquinhas, who was cleared through on goal on the edge of the penalty area. It was in the box, awarded a penalty. Initially shown the red card for denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity was Abubakar, but Drew Fisher went to VAR, rescinded the red for a yellow. We highlighted this at the moment as a point of contention. I didn't see that as a yellow card, but the referee did, and that's a big difference between 3-1 and 2-1, but also 11 men and 10 men. Colorado kept themselves in the game by only going down to a yellow card for Abubakar.
And it was Keegan Rosenberry in the 38th minute to make it 3-2. That's the score heading into halftime. The Red Bulls, despite having the lead, were not really playing that well. It was disorganized defensively. There was no structure in the midfield, no real fluidity attacking. And they were punished in the second half in a complete defensive collapse. Warner scored in the 77th minute, Barrios in the 80th minute, and Dantuma Torre in the 89th minute, former Red Bulls Academy product. It was 5-3 then. Torre actually had a goal before that called offsides, but score 5-3. Tom Barlow in the 97th minute got one back, and James, it looked like we were celebrating a cross into the box from Caden Clark, headed back down to Barlow, who headed into the back of the net to make it 5-5. We thought the game was tied. Tom Barlow turns out just inches offsides.
Not that the Red Bulls deserved an equalizer in this game at all. They totally deserved to go away with 0 points in this one. But the late drama of this game is really not lost on the Red Bulls. We've seen this before. Late goals against Columbus, late goals against Portland. They've been in the mix of matches, but I think a lot of things at this point in the season have gone wrong. A lot of criticism for head coach Gerhard Struber with the substitutions he makes in the second half, with the tinkers he makes to the lineup consistently. We heard a Fire Struber chant from the supporters section today. That's the first time we've heard it in the stadium all year long. I think that's big. We haven't heard that since Chris Armas was manager. There are questions to be asked of the refereeing today. Barlow could have been onside for that last goal. I don't think he was. I thought Abubakar should have been sent off. And you could also talk about match congestion. They've played 4 matches in 9 days if you include the Barcelona friendly. Everything that could be going wrong for the Red Bulls right now seems to be, but at the same time, I can't help but think that the players on the field are shooting themselves in the foot and when it matters most. We do need to bring in new players for Gerhard Struber. He asked for it in the press conference today, but there's no denying the fact that the Red Bulls, even when they're the more talented and the superior team, they come away, they make unforced errors and come away with 1 or no points at home, and it's been frustrating all year long.
We had the chance to hear from Coach Struber and Sean Nealis in the press conference. Take a listen.
It's the time to be very, very clear and critical what we can do right now. Very simple what we change, that we are in the next game with a good capacity on the field in physical directions, mental directions, and then we go again. I think right now it's not the easy moment, but I think the MLS is a challenge, and we know this from the first day, and right now the MLS show us a difficult phase, but a typical phase. When you thinking in some moments you can be a little bit too much relaxed, what can happen? And I think this game show us a bad phase from the MLS, what can happen very quick. Absolutely not correlation between Tom Barlow and after him that we would have more possession, or we would have more backward passes. I think absolutely not. I think in the end we have a situation with many games on the raw, and we have also to protect some players. They have a high load on the field, and I have to use my roster. This is the situation.
It's a combination of both kind of mental lapses and physical lapses on the field. I think we have to be better in that regard. Obviously, the weather's not an excuse, but we've kind of looked tired at times, and I think we have to learn how to fight through that. We're a young team, and we have to kind of grow and mature these next few weeks if we want to make a run for the playoffs. We had a big opportunity tonight in regards to pushing to get closer to NYC and Philly, but I think we kind of lost that opportunity tonight. And like you said, it's a big one against DC. They got a taxi, a couple of other guys, big name forwards, and I think we'll have our hands full again. We got to correct it this weekend.
James, squad depth is something we've talked about all season long, with the transfer window closing in 2 days. Tom Edwards looks like possibly going back to Stoke City. He was on loan here at the Red Bulls. Looks like Stoke City want him back as they have a bit of a defensive crisis. Andres Reyes started at center back today, but it seems like for this stretch run, the Red Bulls a team with playoff aspirations, MLS Cup aspirations. The squad just doesn't seem like it has enough at this point.
If Stoke City can consider themselves having a defensive crisis, I think the Red Bulls can too. We have one left back, now one right back, and I still think they're thin at center back with Lucas Monzon leaving the club recently. Maybe Matt Nocita comes in, the draft pick from this past year, but I don't think that's enough cover. We saw Andres Reyes come back to the lineup today, and I thought he performed really well, but he had to come off early. We know injuries are an issue with him. I think he only got about 60 minutes today. Overall, there's a lot that needs to change, but still, we keep coming back to this, that the Red Bulls have talent, and they belong in the upper echelon of MLS at the moment. They're still within the top 4 of the Eastern Conference, and deservedly so, but they cannot continue to come out and perform like this and expect to make a run in the playoffs.
I want to ask you this, James. Is it fair to say this is a low point?
I think this past 2 weeks have been a low point.
So how, at this point, do the Red Bulls right the ship?
I think you have to bring in a new striker and at least one new fullback. I think you could kiss MLS Cup away if you don't at least do that. I don't think the Supporters' Shield is in the cards, for sure. I think we're seeing this is what the Red Bull season is going to be. We're going to have a mix of consistency and inconsistency, good performances, bad performances, and ultimately a first or second round MLS Cup playoff exit.
5 goals conceded at home to the Colorado Rapids, coming to this one, who had not won a road game so far this year. It's their first road win of the year. Final score from Red Bull Arena: Colorado Rapids 5, New York Red Bulls 4. For WFUV Sports, I'm Nick Guzman. This is James Burley saying so long until next time. Thanks for tuning in.